Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had a wonderful week. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. We are here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining today. And for those of you who are watching the replay on YouTube, on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, welcome. Thanks so much for watching the replay. Good evening. Welcome to you as well. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who celebrate, happy Valentine's Day. You probably have been flooded on social media and the news with all things Valentine's Day, as well as in the stores and everything around us, right? It seems to be Valentine's Day around us. So welcome. Good evening to you as well from Zephyr Hills. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. As for myself, I am in West Virginia today. I do reside in Florida, but typically traveling for one reason or the other. But today I'm in West Virginia. Thanks for those who are joining from Georgia here. Happy Valentine's Day to you as well. And as promised you all, we are in the month of February. We are talking about Valentine's Day today. So I feel like today is a special edition of Mental Health Moment. And really, someone said hashtag Happy Valentine's Day 2023. Absolutely. Greetings from Texas. Greetings to you as well. So today on this Valentine's Day, I thought it would be nice to talk about love, but to also be talking about self-love. So as promised, for the rest of this month, we're talking all things self-love and we're talking self-talk. Very important. So I'm going to share with you some tools today about that, because you all, it is all, I say every single week, it's a journey, but it is a journey as far as your wellness, as far as your mental health, as far as you being the best version of who you are. This is absolutely positively a journey. And a huge part of that journey has to do with your level of self-love, your love for yourself, your self-talk, and the things that you're saying to yourself. So thanks for those who are still starting to join here from North Carolina's in the house, Temple, Texas, New York, South Korea, Virginia, Atlanta's in the house. Welcome. Arkansas, and someone said self-love and self-talk. Absolutely. So the first thing to really be thinking about, and I feel like, I don't know about you all, let me know in the chat, but I really feel like even growing up when I was a child, that we were taught so much about, especially as women, honestly, we were taught so much about how to take care of other people. Like it was like, even as a kid, like before I had my own child, it was like, put your children first, or put this person first, or put your friend first, or your significant other, whoever it was always this notion that you should put all these other people before you, right? But I'm elated, especially as a psychologist, I'm really elated and excited now to see that the narrative is really starting to change. So we're having a lot of conversations, I know you guys have seen it too, about self-love, that it's not selfish to love yourself first, that it's not selfish to have your self-care, that you need to be putting yourself first. And I can't stress enough how important that is. Whatever it is that you made, whatever goals you made for 2023 and all those things, I really, really hope that for you at the very top was your mental health, was how are you doing, was your wellness, was your level of self-love, was your level of your self-talk, right? And thanks for those who are still starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So the first tip that I have for you today, when it deals with, when you think about self-love or self-talk, the first thing, and it's not the easiest thing, you all, I can't always give you easy tips, right? But the first thing to really think about is you have to be aware of your self-talk, okay? You have to be aware of it, because a lot of times we're telling ourselves a lot of things that are not true about ourselves. We tell ourselves things that we have heard from other people that are not true. We tell ourselves things that we have heard from society about ourselves that are not true, right? And all these sorts of things start to happen. So I remember the other day, I was on a podcast interview, And someone had asked about my childhood a little bit. And I was telling them how I used to think wrongly because that's what I was taught. So growing up as a little girl, I was taught, society taught me, well, if you're black and you're a female and you come from a single parent family and XYZ, like all these things, like you're not going to be successful, you're doomed, all these bad things are going to happen to you, you're going to become a statistic. Like those are the things I was thinking about as a kid, which is ridiculous. When I look back now, I'm like, that doesn't have to be my truth, right? It doesn't have to be your truth just because people around you are saying that. So the first thing I want you to recognize is think about, be more aware of what you're saying to yourself. Okay, because what I started to say then, and I'm just being very transparent with you and honest with you, there was a lot of self-talk that started for me as a kid. Okay, well, all these things, if society is saying it about me, it must be true. So now I'm less than, right? Now I'm not enough. Now I got to prove myself. Now I got to try to make straight A's. Now I got to try to do all these things in the community. Now I got to try to do this and that and education and right. Like, how can I prove myself and all these sorts of things because of what society was telling me that wasn't even true, you all. That wasn't even true. So it starts for some of you, this started in your childhood, just some of the things you start to tell yourself. If you, maybe you're in the same boat where you started to say to yourself you're not good enough or you're not worthy of this, that, or whatever. I can promise you all, every single person listening to this right now, you are worthy. You absolutely deserve to be happy. You absolutely deserve to be emotionally healthy. So for some of you, that's my second tip. For some of you, when it comes to self-talk, number one, so my first tip is you have to be aware of the things that you're telling yourself. Like, what is your story? What is your self-talk that you are saying that's not even true? And it's not true. Logically, you do, right? Because sometimes logically we know things to be true, but emotionally is really hard to change. That's just how our minds work, right? So the first tip is for you to really think about being aware. The second thing is that you have to work on replacing those types of thoughts. So a lot of you, thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Not San Francisco. Yes, San Francisco is here. San Antonio is here, and San Francisco is here in South Carolina. Welcome, welcome. But a lot of you have said before in the chat that you use different affirmations, right? You use, whether it's affirmation cards, whether you have an app, whether you have a journal, whether you've written things down. We talked about another mental health moment, how important our words are. So whether you're writing this, putting on a post-it note on your bathroom mirror. I know for me, well, right here on this laptop, I have, my favorite saying, which is keep going, keep growing. Like those are my words that I live by. I have my sticker. It's on it's in my merch store, but I have my sticker right here on my laptop because that for me is one of my affirmations, right? But whatever it is for you, whatever words you use, whatever phrases that you use, you have to work on starting to replace those negative self-talk conversations that you have with those things. Now, this is not an overnight process, you all. This is not an overnight process. And hi, welcome, welcome. Someone said they're currently reading the Book of Joy, The Journey of Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, Lasting Happiness. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's actually last year, I believe, is when I read that book, and I recommended it to you all. So look in the chat here for those of you in the chat. Well, actually, it's in LinkedIn, but I'll read it again. It's called The Book of Joy, The Journey of Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, Lasting Happiness. Great book. It's one of my favorite books. I actually have it on my flight reading, #flight reading highlight on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I put some of the books that I typically read when I'm traveling. Great book. Highly recommend it. Someone said your past doesn't equal your future. Absolutely not, you all. And again, when you think about your self-talk, right, you really, it's a process and it's a journey, but you really have to remember, just as how someone said, your past doesn't equal your future. It can affect you. Of course, your past can affect you currently, can affect your present, can affect your future. However, it doesn't define who you are. Every single one of us on this planet, we have an opportunity to change. You all, I've heard stories from thousands and thousands and thousands of people, not reading it in a book, but seeing them face to face. As a psychologist, I've had the honor to speak to people all over the country, in different countries, all different scenarios, all different walks of life. And what I have learned time and time and time and time again is, number one, we are way more stronger than we know, but also we have the opportunity to change. Wow, there have been, yes, individuals with so much trauma that has happened to them in their lives, right? And so much negative self talk and self doubt and all the things that have come up, understandably, because of these life situations. However, with understanding the power of self talk and understanding the journey to be a better versions of themselves, I have just heard just amazing stories, right? Of change and resilience and people living thriving lives, you all. You deserve to thrive. Okay. So maybe that's one of your affirmations that you need to tell yourself. I deserve to thrive. So not this, I'm in a survival mode type of thing that we're taught to live in and all that. No, you deserve to thrive. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be emotionally healthy. These are the types of things that you have to be telling yourself. Again, as we're number one, you being aware of the self-talk, the negative self-talk, but also working on replacing those thoughts with something that is, well, more true, frankly, because we tell ourselves a lot of lies, a lot of things that we've heard that are not true. Just because someone else said it about you, just because society says it about you, I don't care about any statistic. You all, listen, let me get on my soapbox for a second about statistics. If a statistic said there was a 99% chance of something happening to you, guess what? It's never 100. Okay, you don't know if you were going to be in that 1% chance, right, of something going in a positive direction, you all. So we can't listen to that. May there, yes, be guidelines and things like that. Being aware of our physical health, emotional health, absolutely. But you don't have to make everything you're hearing a negative fact about yourself, because that's what our brain does sometimes. We distort things, we tell ourselves some lies, and we get into some really negative self-talk. But I really want to encourage you today to, again, think about being aware of your thoughts. And the second thing, how can I change them? And again, this is a process. For some of you, I'm just going to be honest with you as a psychologist, for some of you, this is a process. It will take you a couple of months and you'll be like, man, I'm in an amazing new place. For some of you, it's going to take you a couple of years, and that's okay. But for to be in a new and better place. But for every single one of us, this is a lifelong process. Okay. So a lifelong process. So that's why I don't want you to put pressure on yourself to say, well, by X amount of date, right? By 3 months from now or whatnot, I'm just going to be this amazingly different person. Let's work towards having better self-talk, but knowing this is a journey and a process, and that's okay. Yep. Someone said they are tuning in from Baltimore, Maryland. Welcome, welcome. Someone said, absolutely replace the negatives. Someone said, know your truth and your worth. Yes. Tune out the noise. You'll understand my glory when you know my story. I love that. I love that. Good evening to you as well. Selflessness is good, right? Absolutely. Yes. Be selfless, but at the same time, I know it's a kind of a oxymoron, if you will. I mean, selflessness, and you're not being selfish, though. That's not the, I mean, it is opposite, but in our terms, it's more of making sure to put yourself first as a priority, right? And it's all I'm all about giving. I'm all about making sure you help other people. Those things are amazing, wonderful, highly recommend it, right? We had a whole mental health moment about that, of how important it is to give back, how important it is to be kind, how important random acts of kindness are for your mental health as well. However, your number one has to be you. You have to put yourself first so you can show up as the best version of who you are for all of those people around you. Someone said, I worked hard to raise my children to embrace self-love and not to be consumed by others. Taught them about their love language and raised them based on their individual love language. I love that. I love that. So wonderful. Yes. Someone said, yes, if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take good care of others. Yes, 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 and yes. So very, very true, because what's happened, unfortunately, in our society, we've seen it, and maybe you're in that boat. Maybe you've seen someone in that boat. I know we're all guilty of that, myself included, sometimes of putting too many other things first, right? And then we get to the point where we're so stressed out, we're so overwhelmed, right? You start to hit burnout. Those things are very real. But the good news is if you catch yourself in that state, start to pull yourself back and know that, okay, wait a minute. I need to start putting myself first again. It's okay. Sometimes it happens. You all, I'll be very honest with you. Of course, this happens the week before I'm doing mental health moment about self-talk. because it has been a journey. I will, personally share. I really used to have some negative, very hard on myself self talk, like for no reason. But that is just how it was, for me through my teenage years, through college, through grad school, like just super hard on myself, too hard, right? And so I've worked on that though. Like it's taken years, it's taken a long time. But even this past week, there's been a lot of things, overwhelming things, that has happened. And then I caught myself though, you all. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, wait. Like we worked on the self talk, like what's going on? Like just going back into the self-doubt mode and going back into like some harsh things to say about yourself. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait, hold on. What's going on here? Right. So sometimes we have to catch ourselves. So you make progress with this, but just know there's not a perfect day. I was reading this statistic. Well, actually, there was different statistics depending on what you read, but I was reading one statistic that said that most people process, or we have about 6,000 thoughts a day. 6,000. That's a lot of thoughts that run through our minds, right? Not to mention all the things that we're inundated with. So being that there's that many thoughts, a lot of the research was also saying there's a lot of negative thoughts that we tell ourselves. So don't beat yourself up too much for having the negative self-talk. You are normal. Everyone, all of us have the negative self-talk, but work on recognizing that and working on changing your language, changing your words, and changing the story that you are telling yourself. Because we're all telling ourselves different stories, and most of them are not true, frankly. Again, they're not true. So work on that. Yep. Someone said, it took me 3 years and working. Good for you. Congratulations. I love to hear that. I love it. Again, this is a lifelong journey, you all. This is not, I wish I had a magic wand. Someone needs to send me a magic wand. I wish I had a magic wand. I really do. I think I've wished for that, since I was a kid, like to make everything better and to make everyone feel better and just magically change things. But as we know, it doesn't work like that. Right. But it takes time. Don't get frustrated with yourself, you all. It takes time. This is a process. Someone said you don't have to allow your past to affect you negatively in your future. You have to change your mindset to a positive direction. Yes. And for those of you who missed Mental Health Moment in January, you can head to my YouTube page, Dr. Nikisha Hammond. And we talked all month long in January about mindset. Right. So this month, definitely we're talking about self-love and self-talk. And how to be better versions of who we are. And last month, of course, was resetting our mindset, but absolutely true. It's something that I have to be conscious of every day, like making sure I get my 8 glasses of water. Beautiful and very, very true. It's really easy, you all. That's why sometimes when you're driving places, I know I do this all the time, guilty. But when you're driving places, you kind of just zone out and then you get to where you got to, especially for like going home or something like that, a path that or going to work or wherever you're going, a path that you normally take, you sort of zone out. And then you get there and you're like, wait, how did I get here? Right? Because a lot of what we're doing is on automatic thinking. So a lot of times you don't even recognize the things that you are telling yourselves. But when you become more aware of that, which is a process, it really helps for you to start to change the language, change the way you're talking to yourself. One of the things that really helped me, you all, I'll just share for me personally, this could be something that is helpful to you or not. Please do what works for you. But one of the things that was most helpful to me when I was, or still am, right, in my journey of self-talk was, I think it was probably something I saw online, probably some Instagram post somewhere, but where it said, the way you talk, the way you talk to yourself, would you talk to your child like that? And I was like, man, like, or someone that you really care about, right? There's people that we really, really care about. Could be your child, it could be your family member, friend, or whoever that you really care about. Like, would you really say the things that you tell yourself, the really dark, harsh things that you tell yourself? Would you say that to your friend? Or would you say that to your child or your grandchild? Of course you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't talk to them like that. You someone that you really care about, someone that you appreciate, and someone you're gentle with. You wouldn't do that. So if we're not going to do that for other people around us, then let's not do that to ourselves. We're with ourselves 24/7, you all, right? And we're in our thoughts. So let's really work on how we talk to ourselves. Someone said, someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think there are things they get in your rugs, in your upholstery, and your clothes, and finally into you by Maya Angelou. Beautiful quote. Beautiful quote. Absolutely, positively true. I can't even express how powerful our thoughts are. Like that's how powerful they are. Great one. And someone says self-love, it's okay to put yourself first. Absolutely. I've told people I can't continue this conversation if it's toxic for me. Good for you. Very important for you to be setting these boundaries. Now, well, this is probably for the next mental health moment. Actually, we'll talk about in the next mental health moment, because it's going to take me a while to explain this. But I will say as a intro to the next mental health moment, when it comes to self-talk, one of the reasons that you have the self-talk you have is either you're something called an internalizer or an externalizer. And we're going to actually talk about that next week because it's a longer discussion. But it is important definitely to be setting boundaries, especially again, family, friends, coworker, whomever it is in your life. But sometimes even when we set boundaries, there are people that have said things that start to kind of get into our minds, if you will, which also leads to the negative self-talk. So, but we're going to talk more about that next week for sure. Someone said, yep, sure thing. So the person that said about the spa retreat, definitely send me a DM. The easiest way is on Instagram. So it's Dr.Hammond. Just send me a DM and then, yeah, we can talk about that. Good evening to you as well. Someone said we have to remember to cut ourselves a break. We will never be perfect. Yes, we will never be perfect. No, there is no perfect person on the planet, right? Absolutely. The retreat. Yep. Definitely email me or not email me. Send me a DM on actually on Instagram or LinkedIn as well. You can send me a DM on there. I had to become more aware. Beautiful. Real talk tonight. Absolutely. That's new for me to walk away from conversations in the workplace. Good for you. The thing is, we all have different ways. We all have different ways that we really think about how do we start to set up those boundaries. So I know for some of you, you were mentioning like in the workplace, for example, if you know that, yes, there are conversations that are negative, and you have a negative impact on you. Absolutely. If you need to walk away, if you need to have a conversation with that person in whatever way for you that you cope best, that works for you, because we're all different. Please do what works for you to think about how can I stay sane? How can I stay emotionally healthy, right? Throughout these interactions, throughout these conversations. That is what is most important. You all, your emotional and mental health is first. It should be your priority, and your physical health, of course. Your health is most important. We need that, right? To survive and to thrive. Yep, someone said boundaries. Yes, absolutely. Someone said, I had to end a relationship with a friend because it impacted my energy and my mental well-being. Yes, very important for you to be, as you are assessing, again, today we're talking about self-talk for those of you just joining here. But as we think about the self-talk, as we think about assessing what we're thinking, we also have to be thinking of, are there individuals or are there situations, right, that are triggering the negative self-talk that we have? But again, we'll be talking about that again on the next mental health moment, which is Tuesday, of course, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, for those of you just tuning in here, if you didn't catch the whole thing, you can always watch the replay on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe if you are on YouTube right now. It's Dr. Nikisha Hammond. YouTube page. You can watch all the replays. January, of course, was dealing with mindset as we set up for this year here. And then this month, February, all month long, we're going to be talking about self-talk and self-love, right? Because those things are really, really important as we grow as individuals. That is what mental health moment, for those of you who are new, is all about. How do you become the best version of who you are so you can show up for yourself and show up for those around you? Yeah, someone said setting boundaries is so important. If you all need me at any time, you can always reach me, drnikishahammond.com. You can reach out on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time, dr.hammond, or LinkedIn, Facebook, or any other social media platform. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you. I'm excited for you. And grateful that you're in this space. If it's this space, whatever other spaces that you need to stay inspired, to stay uplifted, and to continue to work on being the best version of who you are, that's amazing. So congrats. And I will see you all next Tuesday. Happy Valentine's Day again to you all that celebrate. I will see you all next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. So have an amazing week, you all, and I'll see you next week. You're welcome. Bye, you all.